Good evening, everybody, and welcome to tonight's Brighton Town Board meeting, August 10th, 2022. I'm Bill Maley, Brighton Town Supervisor, and I welcome everybody that is with us this evening. Of course, we do continue to meet remotely as a result of the COVID pandemic and pursuant to the governor's emergency order permitting remote meetings to be held. As a reminder, the town does have COVID rapid test kits available to the public. They're available right here at Town Hall. They're also available in the library and in the police department. So if you need them, we have them right here for you. In just a moment, we will begin the open forum portion of our meeting. That is the opportunity for members of the public to share their comments with the town board. I'll give a little more information about the open forum in just a moment. But if you're watching us on YouTube streaming or on the cable access channel on Spectrum, you'll have to log into Zoom in order to access the open forum to participate. And there are detailed instructions for doing that on the town's webpage, www.townofbrighton.org. We do continue to make our meetings accessible to the deaf and hard of hearing community with our ASL interpreters. Tonight, our interpreters are Allie and Jesse. Welcome and thank you both. Just as a reminder, the agenda for tonight's meeting, as well as all the materials we're looking at in making our decisions at the meeting tonight, are available on that same Town of Brighton webpage, www.townofbrighton.org. We'll start the meeting with the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We're going to go right into the open forum tonight. The open forum, as I mentioned, is an opportunity to address the town board about matters relating to the town, whether or not they're on our agenda tonight. We may not respond to your questions right at this time, particularly if they relate to matters that are not before the board this evening. But I assure you that we listen and take your input seriously. Again, as I mentioned a moment ago, if you would like to address the board during the open forum tonight, you must join this meeting in Zoom if you haven't already done so. If you are here for one of the public hearings that are scheduled for tonight on the formation of new refuse districts in the town of Brighton, I encourage you to wait until we call those public hearings, which we will do right after the open forum. And that way your comments can be included in the record of the public hearing for the refuse district that you are interested in.
Supervisor Maley, just as a reminder, we also have a public hearing on some tree removals this evening.
Yes, thank you, or that public hearing. Yeah, thanks, Ken. If you do want to speak either during the open forum or during any of those public hearings, please use the Zoom raised hand function, and someone will call on you and unmute you and turn your video on. Each speaker will have up to 3 minutes to address the board. I will advise you when you have 30 seconds left. Please address your comments to the board and not to other members of the audience. Please do not use the open forum to make personal attacks of any kind. Our goal here tonight and during the open forum that we hold at every town board meeting is to give you the opportunity to share your thoughts with the board and for us to be able to listen thoughtfully to your input. So we'll now begin the open forum. I will ask Jason Harenza if there is anybody with their hand raised asking to speak to the board during the open forum.
I am not seeing any at this time. Sometimes there's a little bit of a lag with folks using the raised hand feature, but
Sure.
scanning the audience.
Well, let me, I agree. I don't see anybody either with their hand raised, so that's fine. We will continue with the meeting. And I will ask Councilmember Warner to move for the approval of the agenda.
Bill, I move that we approve the agenda.
Can I have a second, please?
Second, Christine.
Then we do have 7 public hearings tonight. One concerning trees. My guy on the relevant neighbors have been informed as well.
That is correct. The 20-day notices did go out.
Great. Then I declare this public hearing concerning the removal and replacement of a 52-inch silver maple and 46-inch silver maple at 45 Monroe Parkway and a 34-inch Norway maple at 32 Monterey Parkway to be open. And Mike, I'll ask you to say a few words to introduce this public hearing.
Sure. All 3 trees are in poor health and are recommended for removal. Also recommended to have a tree replacement installed. All the trees obviously are larger than 30 inches in diameter, therefore qualify as a significant tree. Town code requires that we hold a public hearing and seek public comment on the removal of those trees before we take them down. I have heard back from the owner of 32 Monterey. At first they weren't sure which tree we were talking about, so I sent him over the paperwork. Took a look at the paperwork and he is agreeable to having that tree removed as long as we have a replacement tree. Also heard from the resident at 35 Monterey who had no objection to that tree being removed. I have not heard back from anybody from Monroe Parkway.
Okay. And although they're not up for a public hearing because none of the, there were several other trees that the Public Works Committee took a look at it at its meeting that don't rise to the level of requiring a public hearing, but that you plan to have removed. Will replacements be planted for those as well, or?
I'm trying to think, Bill, generally 90% of our trees, we put replacement trees unless there's some obvious or some obstacle that won't allow us to plant the trees. And in those cases, sometimes we plant trees further down the road, or if it's in the way of a driveway or going to create problems, we may not plant a tree, but 90% of those we will plant replacement trees.
Great. All right. If that's the summary, Mike, is there, we'll do the same thing again. If someone would like to speak during the public hearing, please use the raised hand function. And Jason Harenza will call on you. Are there any members of the town board that would like to comment on this tree removal matter? Hearing none and seeing no hands raised to speak, I declare this public hearing to be closed. And Christine, if you could make the motion, please.
Certainly. On the matter of the removal and replacement of a 52-inch silver maple and 46-inch silver maple at 45 Monroe Parkway and a 34-inch Norway maple at 32, and I want to be clear here, Monterey, correct? Not Monteroy Parkway. I move that we adopt the resolution before us.
Second, Chris.
Any discussion? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DePonzio.
Aye.
Councilmember Werner.
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt.
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado.
Aye.
Supervisor Maley.
Aye. Next, we have the first, again, of those 5 public hearings on new refuse districts. And the first one is for the proposed Chalet Circle Refuse District. And I will ask the clerk again, has the necessary legal notice been given in this matter?
Yes, Supervisor. Notice was published in the July 25th edition of the Daily Record.
Thank you. Then I declare this public hearing to be open. And Mike, do you want to give a brief summary of this? And I don't know whether your summary will be generic enough to cover all of these, or if you want to make them specific for each one.
I would Supervisor be somewhat specific, but it's,
Okay.
I'll make it short. Let's put it that way. There's 15 parcels in this proposed district. 87% of the residents were agreeable to the district, and which also equated to 90% of the assessed value, which is one of the tests to see if the district is worthy of being approved. So we're looking for the district to be approved tonight and formed tonight.
Thank you. Again, if there is anyone that would like to address the town board in this public hearing on the proposed Chalet Circle Refuse District, if you would please use the raised hand function in Zoom, and you will be unmuted and put up on the screen. Are there any comments from members of the board or any other staff? Any comments either from members of the audience or from the town? Hearing none, I declare this public hearing to be closed. And I will ask Councilmember Warner to please.
Bill, with respect to the proposed establishment of the Chalet Circle Refuse District, I move that we adopt the resolution before us.
Second.
Was that Jason?
I think I got in under the wire.
All right. Any discussion? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DePonzio.
Aye.
Councilmember Werner.
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt.
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado.
Aye.
Supervisor Maley.
Aye. Next is the public hearing on the proposed establishment of the Clover Hills Drive Refuse District. Dan, has the necessary legal notice been given in this matter?
This was also in the July 25th edition of the Daily Record.
Wonderful. Then I declare this public hearing to be open, and I'll turn again to Mike Guyon for a summary.
And again, I'll make it short. 48 parcels in this district, proposed refuse district. 81% of the residents are in favor of the district, which is a nice percentage. One thing I didn't mention about the last district, and all the districts are the same, the estimated annual cost will be about $283 per year.
Thank you. Again, if there is anyone in the audience that would like to speak in this public hearing on the proposed establishment of a Clover Hills Drive Refuse District, please use the raise hand function in Zoom and you will be recognized and have the opportunity to speak. Or if there are any town board members or staff members that want to speak on this public hearing.
Bill, not with respect to this public hearing per se, but I did see a notice on my screen that Leah was asking to be admitted.
Yes, I admitted her.
Very good. Thank you.
Hearing and seeing no one wishing to address the board during this public hearing, I declare the public hearing on the proposed Clover Hills Drive Refuse District to be closed. And I'll ask Councilmember Wilt if you would make the motion, please.
Certainly. On the proposed establishment of the Clover Hills Drive Refuse District, I move that we adopt the resolution as prepared by the town attorney.
Second, Christine.
Thank you. Any discussion? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DePonzio,
Aye.
Councilmember Werner,
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt,
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado,
Aye.
Supervisor Mailey.
Aye. I'm wondering, I do see some people that are here, and I'm wondering if your law and government class people from the high school. No. Okay, that's fine. I wasn't sure whether we might have some student guests tonight, which we sometimes do. I will move on then to the proposed Shoreham Drive Refuse District, and I will ask the town clerk, has the necessary legal notice been given in this public hearing?
This notice was also in the July 25th edition of the Daily Record.
Thank you, Dan. I declare this public hearing on the proposed Shoreham Drive Refuse District to be open. And again, if there is anyone that would like to address the board on this public hearing, please use the raised hand function and you'll be unmuted and given the opportunity to speak. But first, let me have Mike Guyon give us a summary again.
Again, real briefly, it's this district's a little bit smaller, consists of 20 parcels. 70% of the residents voted in favor of the district. And again, it's the same cost, same annual cost per year, about $283 per year for refuse collection.
Thanks, Mike. And for those who don't know, Mike is our Commissioner of Public Works and Highway Superintendent. Is there anyone that would like to address the town board on the proposed Shoreham Drive Refuse District? Or any members of the board or staff?
Bill, with respect to refuse districts in general, it always is striking to me that our tax cap is impacted by these additional services we are providing by payment through town taxes, which is unfortunate. It would be a great change to the tax cap concept if we could take into account when the town increases services, now providing through a refuse district, refuse removal, that this additional cost not count against our tax cap number. But we are saving our residents considerable amount on their refuse cost.
And that's the irony, absolutely, Chris. That price of $284, I think Mike mentioned, is for most waste management customers, more than $100 savings on what they would pay if they simply went to waste management themselves to contract for refuse hauling. The State Association of Towns, of which I am a vice president, has advocated for that and some other changes to the tax cap. But for now, yes, these additional district charges do count against the town's tax cap as we develop our budget for the 2023 budget year, which we are in the process of doing right now. Any other comments, either from members of the audience or the board? Hearing none, I declare this public hearing to be closed. And I'll ask Councilmember DePonzio for a motion.
Yes, Bill, with respect to the proposed establishment of the Shoreham Drive Refuse District, I move we adopt the resolution as prepared by the town attorney.
Second, Robin.
Any discussion on that motion? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DePonzio,
Aye.
Councilmember Werner,
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt,
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado,
Aye.
Supervisor Maley.
Aye. Christine, the South Grosvenor. Well, first, the next item is the proposed South Grosvenor Road Refuse District. Dan, has the necessary legal notice been given in this matter?
Yes, Supervisor, notice for this hearing was published in the July 25th edition of the Daily Record.
I knew that. Thank you, Dan. And Mike, again, a brief summary, please.
Yeah, 53 parcels, so a relatively large district. 75% of the parcels are voted in favor of the district. So pretty good percentage of folks looking forward to having the refuse district formed.
Thank you. And if I didn't do it already, I do declare this public hearing to be open. And that's indicative. Each one of these, you've heard overwhelming percentages of residents sign petitions. And I kudos to the neighborhood folks that pass these petitions around, because you are, by doing that, and Mike, you and your department are saving each resident in each one of those districts $100 plus a year. So that's a great thing. Is there anyone that would like to address the board in this matter? Any members of the audience? If so, please use the raised hand function on Zoom. I did see a thumbs up, and that's always a good thing to see too. Anybody from the board or from town staff want to speak during the public hearing?
Bill, I did just want to take this. Oh,
sure. Go ahead, Robin.
Oh, yeah. This is Robin. I just want to take this opportunity to also recognize Chad Roscoe, who works with our residents in creating these districts. And obviously, we have quite a few that received overwhelming support from their neighborhoods. And I just want to recognize his efforts in assisting our residents.
Absolutely. Thanks, Robin. Chad is the hands-on person doing those. I did see Courtney's hand go up. So Jason, if you can unmute Courtney, we can.
It was just the clap emoji. I'll speak at
Oh,
the next.
okay. I'm sorry. Sounds good. And that Caitlin may have been doing the same thing as well. Okay. Good. It's then if there's no one here to speak, then I will declare this public hearing to be closed. And now I will ask Christine to make the motion in this matter. Oh, you're muted.
Unmuted. There we go. So in the matter of the proposed South Grosvenor Road Refuse District, I move that we adopt the resolution as prepared by the town attorney.
Can I have a second? Thank you, Chris. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DePonzio.
Aye.
Councilmember Werner.
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt.
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado.
Aye.
Supervisor Maley.
Aye. And the last refuse district is the proposed Wendover Road Refuse District. And I'm going to guess Dan is going to tell me that the legal notice was published on July 25th, but just to make sure, Dan?
Wow, it's Kreskin. Yes, the notice was published in the July 25th edition of the Daily Record.
Perfect. Thank you very much. And Mike, one more description of this proposed refuse district on Wendover Road.
Sure thing, Supervisor. 44 parcels signed a petition in favor of this district, or about 59% of the total residents within the district.
Thank you. I declare this public hearing to be open, and I'll ask, again, anybody that would like to address the board on this public hearing for the proposed Wendover Road Refuse District to please use the raised hand function, and we'll unmute you and give you a chance to share your comments. Any members of the board or town staff with any comments on this public hearing?
Bill, I see that Courtney has her hand raised this
And
time.
she's been unmuted, so go ahead, Courtney.
Hi, I'm Courtney Blackburn. I live at 166 Wendover Road. And I just wanted to express my support for the Wendover Road Refuse District. I was one of the many neighbors who worked to submit this petition to the town. And many of my neighbors during the process of submitting were really excited about the cost savings and the stable rates going forward, of course. But I also think that the less obvious, but maybe even more impactful benefits of refuse district were the things that they were most excited about, including the environmental benefits, the reduced noise pollution, and the safety benefits of having less traffic on our road in particular, which is constantly seeing pedestrians and pets at all hours of the day, but especially in the early mornings. So I just wanted to express my support formally for this district.
Thank you, Courtney. I appreciate that, and you're right, because the cost savings are great, but many neighborhoods that aren't in refuse districts have different refuse companies coming down the street on different days. Besides adding traffic, it actually adds to the wear and tear on the road. And of course, it means people in the neighborhood have garbage out multiple mornings of the week. So there's lots of benefits from the refuse district. Thank you for those comments.
Thank you.
Anyone else like to speak to the board on this public hearing for the Wendover Road Refuse District? Or any staff members or board members? Hearing none, then I declare this public hearing to be closed, and I'll ask the clerk, I will ask Councilmember Warner for a motion, please.
Bill, with respect to the proposed establishment of the Wendover Road Refuse District, I move that we adopt the resolution before us.
Second, Christine.
Any discussion? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DeFazio,
Aye.
Councilmember Werner,
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt,
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado,
Aye.
Supervisor Mailey.
Aye. And finally, the last public hearing tonight is on the proposed Council Rock Avenue Extension 2 Sidewalk Snow Removal District. And I will ask Dan, have the necessary legal notices been given on this matter?
Yes, Supervisor. As with the other special districts, this was published in the July 25th edition of the Daily Record.
Thank you. I declare this public hearing on the proposed Council Rock Avenue Extension 2 Sidewalk Snow Removal District to be open. I will mention again that we do not intend to take action on this matter tonight, but we will hold it open until the next board meeting. Is there anyone here? Please, if there is someone here to address the proposed sidewalk snow removal district, please use the raised hand function to address the board.
Did you want to have Commissioner Guyon give a little introduction to this first?
I'm sorry. Yes, I do. Thank you. Thank you, Ken. Mike.
Thanks, Ken. Yeah, again, there's 16 parcels in this subdivision or in this proposed district. Of that 16, 13 signed petitions in favor of the district. The idea here is that currently the property owners are responsible to shovel their own sidewalks for the most part if you're not in a sidewalk snowplow district. Once in the district, the town will plow your sidewalks. The cost is approximately $50 per year. And due to, we had some clerical errors in the map planning report. The map planning report has since been modified and is in the clerk's office for review.
Thank you, Mike. And again, the public hearing, I think I mentioned, but the public hearing is open. And if there is anyone wishing to address the board on the proposed Council Rock Avenue Extension 2 please use the raised hand function and we will unmute you. And again, we will hold this public hearing open until the next meeting as well. I do not see anybody here to speak to this public hearing. Any other board or staff members with comments for the public hearing? Then we will leave this public hearing open for our next meeting and move on. We have no items of communication to add tonight, so I'll go to committee reports, starting with Robin, Community Services Committee.
Thank you, Bill. The Community Services Committee has not met in the intervening timeframe since our last town board meeting, but as usual, I do have a few quick updates from our Parks and Recreation Department heads. From our Recreation Department, summer registration is ongoing for programming. Space is still available in the Pokemon Power Camp, Experiencing Encanto, Outdoor Explorers, and our rock climbing programs. You can check out full details online at our Town of Brighton Recreation Department website. That site is at www.townofbrighton.org/rec, REC. And our summer concert series is winding down. The Bands at Buckland concert series takes place on Tuesday evenings between July 12th and August 16th this year at Buckland Park, 1341 Westfall Road, between the hours of 6:30 and 8 p.m. Last night, we were rocking out to the Different Every Time Party Band, and we hope that you'll please join us for the final concert of the season on Tuesday, August 16th, featuring the Uptown Groove Motown era Top 40 band. The Brighton Town Hall pool is open daily from 12:30 to 6 p.m. The season closing date will be Sunday, August 21st. The schedule, of course, is subject to change based on lifeguard availability, but we will stay open as long as we are able to staff the pool appropriately. Our summer farmers market continues on Sundays from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. in the Brighton High School parking lot. And then an update from our Parks Department, the Park Superintendent reports that lots of regular maintenance tasks continue this season, including trail maintenance on the Lehigh Valley Trail, Auburn Trail, and also additional work at Corbett's Glen. Unfortunately, as is the case this time of year, some of our seasonal laborers are heading back to college after this week, so we'll be losing some very much needed help in that regard, but I'm sure our Parks Department will handle the workload. In upcoming events, we just held our spring semi-annual secure document shredding event on Sunday, July 31st. I hear that went off with aplomb as usual. We filled a truck from our new vendor, ProShred, and we're looking forward to holding our next semi-annual electronics recycling and secure document shredding event at the Brighton Highway Department parking lot, 1941 Elmwood Avenue on Saturday, October 15th from 9 a.m. to 12 noon, just in case you missed this last event. We're also anticipating our Drug Enforcement Agency National Pharmaceutical Take-Back event at the Brighton Town Hall Public Safety Wing, 2300 Avenue on Saturday, October 29th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. The next meeting of the Community Services Committee will be next Wednesday, August 17th at 9:30 a.m. at the Brookside Recreation Center multipurpose room, 220 Idlewood Road. As always, members of the public are invited and encouraged to attend. That's all I have. Thank you, Bill.
Thank you, Robin. Next, Finance and Administrative Services. Jason.
Yes, Bill, the Finance and Administrative Services Committee met last Wednesday, August 3rd. Each of the items that were discussed in committee appear on tonight's agenda and will be discussed in further detail and then voted on by the town board. One other matter that was discussed is the 2023 budget workshop and budget process schedule. And our budget workshops are scheduled for next Wednesday, August 17th, and then the following Wednesday, August 24th. And those will occur between 4 o'clock and 6 o'clock in the afternoon. Our next meeting of the Finance Committee will take place on Wednesday, August 17th at 8:30 in the morning in the main auditorium at Town Hall, and the public is invited to attend.
Thanks very much, Jason. Public Safety Committee, Chris.
Thanks, Bill. We had our August Public Safety Committee meeting yesterday. It was quite extended, and I'll do my best to summarize. The two residents from the Evans Farm neighborhood came in to ask what the town might do towards potentially closing the stub off of Idlewood Lane into Brookside School with the hope of restricting traffic in from that side to the school, or what had been the Brookside School. There was a discussion about what the town's options were and the town board's limitations by statute, as were ably summarized by the town attorney, Ken Gordon. And there were also discussions about the potential formation of a sidewalk district in that neighborhood. And the folks were directed to the largest extent back to the planning board, where a decision still remains on that development of that property. Also, a resident from Stony Brook Lane addressed the committee about pedestrian safety along Edgewood Avenue from Stony Brook to Monroe, and asking that we look to see if a sidewalk extension can be included there to link the sidewalk along Edgewood for the safety of the folks walking along that shoulder. A Brighton ambulance gave their report and about the number of calls they've had. And I'd say of significance is the fact that calls are up some 19% over 2021. And that largely these relate to staffing difficulties in other adjoining districts. And I continue to be very impressed with how well our services perform here and how well staffed we are, but continued staffing is an issue. The Brighton Fire Department reported on their calls to date and that there was a minor working fire on Kimbark Road due to a lithium battery overheating in its charge cycle. And a discussion was had with the fire marshal, who indicated that this is something that is being addressed on a countywide basis, because with the rise of electric vehicles and the increase of electric vehicles and just electric devices with recharging batteries, that they're looking at safety issues on the rare occasion that a battery does overheat. Department of Public Works, Commissioner Guyan reported that the pavement projects continue through town and the regular town services. The Brighton Police Department reported on their open house, which went very well. And they also are in the midst of the Senior Citizen Police Academy, which started July 7th and runs through August 25th. 2 hours from 10 till noon. They also reported that traffic details, some 16 details, occurred out in the Oakdale Mayflower intersection, resulting in 17 stops and 13 tickets, largely focused on failure to stop at that stop sign at that intersection. Also, Speed Awareness Week will be August 14th through the 21st, and there's extra grant-funded patrols. The rabies clinic is to be on October 8th from 10 till 2. And also, they reminded us that homecoming will be coming up on September 17th, which presents some challenges to the police department with the parade and the crowds there. But they're looking forward to covering that event. Henrietta Fire District reported that 71 calls were had in the West Brighton district in July. that they received their new ladder truck and the factory training is scheduled for next week, and that 2 pumpers are now due for delivery in that district in January or February. Commissioner Guyon updated us on the Winton Road gas main, where they're now where they're now working in front of the school, with the expectation that the work out in front of the school will be concluded before the school year begins again in September, and then they're going to work back towards 12 Corners. The Monroe Avenue speed zone was discussed, asking with a letter to be drafted by the school district, jointly by the school district and the town, to send to New York State Department of Transportation, that the school district speed limits be expanded to include the Monroe Avenue. And this is a project which has been spearheaded by council member Christine Corrado. Also, left turn signals on Winton Road south onto Westfall were discussed, and that matter is under discussion with Supervisor Maley and the county legislators. And also a letter is to be drafted to send to the County Department of Transportation. Similarly, lane restrictions and controlled left turn signals on Allen's Creek and Westfall onto Monroe intersection. And Commissioner Guyon is to review traffic data and again, looking towards sending a letter to the State Department of Transportation. Also, pedestrian signals at Allen's Creek, Westfall, and Monroe, Edgewood and Meadow intersection in Monroe, and Brooklawn Torrington at Monroe were all discussed. And the thought is that those should be added, and the appropriate transportation departments at the county and the state will be pursued. Similarly, a pedestrian signal was discussed at Brooklawn Torrington at Monroe. And the next meeting will be September 13th at 8:00 a.m. in the auditorium, and the public is invited. Thanks, Bill.
Thank you, Chris. And just to supplement that, the Commissioner Guyon has in fact drafted the first letter that you referenced, and also identified a plan that had been crafted but not yet implemented. It dates back to right about the time that the COVID pandemic started, which is probably why it has yet to actually be implemented, for the Monroe Brooklawn Torrington intersection, which is one that we recurringly hear about, and of course its proximity to the middle school and the high school, as well as various other shops and the administration building, make it a really important intersection. So a lot going on in all of those areas relating to traffic issues and the interaction with pedestrians and cyclists. So thank you for that report, Christine. Thank you for your advocacy in that area.
Supervisor, could I just add on real quick?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Real quick, just regarding the RG&E project in 12 Corners. The intent there is for them to finish up all of their work with the exception of making crossover connections and paving prior to the school year, start of the school year. That's their intent. They are already working in the 12 Corners section. I drove down there last night. So just be aware that there will be some traffic modifications through that area.
Now, Mike, is that going to continue to be two-way traffic? I came up to that intersection and held my breath, not knowing if I was going to be able to turn left off of Elmwood onto Winton.
Chris, I'd have to look at their traffic map, their traffic, the maps they put together, they change based on where they're at with that gas main. So it will vary from process to process.
I do believe that it is their intention to maintain a lane of traffic in each direction, because you've really got 4 lanes through there, and they can close one down and leave and leave the others to go. So
Supervisor, you are
yeah.
correct. You're correct with that. It's a matter, there's no detours at this point being proposed. So it's going to be a bit congested through there.
There may be, I can't remember at the very, very end of the project, whether there might have to be some detours or other traffic control at the very south end as they make the final connection.
Right.
But for the most part, although there will be traffic controls in place, traffic will be allowed to move through. And again, based on early on in the project, you remember there was a proposal for night work, but there will not be night work as part of this project because the concerns we raised and residents raised about noise and lights and other matters were deemed to be significant enough. So no night work, or at least no late night work. Okay, thank you for that. And we'll go on to the Public Works Committee. Christine.
Public Works Committee met August 2nd, and I thank my colleague Chris Werner for stepping up to chair the meeting in my absence. Thank you very much. And from the looks of the minutes, it was a very full and busy meeting. I'll read that out unless, Chris, you would like to give another report? No.
You're on a roll, Christine.
Very well. All right. So Public Works Committee addressed the refuse district consolidation that you've heard about earlier this evening. I will not recap that since we've heard about it all in detail. No, I'm sorry. This is the refuse district consolidation. So all the many districts that were proposed tonight, plus the 65 existing refuse districts, the proposal is to consolidate them. So 61 of these districts are assessed on a benefit basis, and the remaining 4 districts are assessed on an ad valorem basis. Town staff is preparing a consolidation agreement as described in General Municipal Law, Article 17A. And the Public Works Department requested that the consolidation agreement compare the refuse costs for the properties in the ad valorem districts to the anticipated unit cost. And the agreement will be revised to include that information. And the board will be considering the joint consolidation agreement tonight. And if agreeable, we will be scheduling a public hearing date later this evening. A notice which includes a summary of the agreement and the location where the agreement can be viewed will be published once a week for 4 weeks prior to the public hearing. And we hope to complete the consolidation process by October 7th, 2022. And the change will be effective on January 1st, 2023. And Chad Roscoe will celebrate wildly if it all goes through. EV charging stations were discussed. The New York State Office of Climate Change has recently released a grant program to provide electric vehicle charging stations to municipalities. It is the 2022 Zero Emission Vehicle, or ZEV, Infrastructure Grant Program. And the town has expressed interest in relocating the existing charging station at the town hall and replacing this unit with 2 new EV stations. Additionally, staff will evaluate various sites throughout the town that could accommodate the installation of EV charging stations and develop a project scope to maximize the grant request as part of the ZEV infrastructure program. The Elmwood Avenue sidewalk to South Clinton Avenue bid results came in. The town of Brighton obtained a CDBG grant of $60,000 to install sidewalks along the north side of Elmwood Avenue. The project includes installing 1,250 lineal feet of sidewalk from the existing sidewalk at 1660 Elmwood Avenue eastward to the entrance of Faith Church and the Loch DeVille intersection. This section of sidewalk will extend public sidewalks along the north side of Elmwood Avenue to South Clinton Avenue and eliminate a major gap in the town sidewalk network. 4 firms submitted bids on July 15th to complete the work. The lowest responsible bid was $155,800, which exceeds the grant funding available for the project, and town staff is requesting authorization to award the bid, provided the town is agreeable to funding the difference between the grant and the contract price. Side note, 20 years ago, I lived in the apartments that are along that stretch and wrote a really cranky letter to the editor saying, why the heck does this town not have a sidewalk that will get me to the library? And if you write cranky letters to the editor, eventually you end up on town board. So be careful what kind of letters you write to the editor. But the work is getting done. Hooray. Trailer mounted bucket truck bids. No bids were received for the bucket truck. Town staff would like to modify the bid and reissue the bid documents for a trailer mounted bucket truck. And those bids will be received on August 10th. So today, as presumably they came in. The East Avenue sidewalk extension was addressed. Liu engineers have completed the design report for the project, and the report considered two alternatives. The first alternative includes moving the wall to the south, installing a 7-foot wide concrete sidewalk along the back of the East Avenue curb, acquiring property to accommodate the construction of the wall, and removing the trees along the top of the existing wall. The second alternative includes reconfiguring the roadway. The existing shoulder striping would be removed and travel lanes would be widened to 13 feet to function as shared use lanes. The existing curbing would be removed to make room for the sidewalk. A new curb would be installed approximately 3 feet inside the existing curb, and a new 5-foot sidewalk would be installed along the back of the new curb. The existing wall would remain. The alternatives were presented to the New York State Department of Transportation for comment, and the New York State Department of Transportation recommended the installation of alternative 1. In matters regarding the sanitary sewer system, several residents from Fair Hill Drive neighborhood appeared before the committee to discuss recent backup of sanitary sewers. The matter of Farview Hill, the residents requested a no outlet request. A resident living along Farview Hill requested that such a sign be installed to alert vehicles that the roadway was not a through street. The MUTCD indicates that a no outlet sign may be used at the entrance to a road or road network from which there is no other exit. However, a dead end sign is recommended where the street terminates in a dead end or cul-de-sac. As such, a dead end sign is appropriate for this application, and I passed by that way this week. It is already installed. Similar to the Public Safety Committee, a resident from the Stony Brook neighborhood requested the Edgewood Avenue sidewalk, that Edgewood Avenue have sidewalk installed on the north side between Monroe Avenue and Stony Brook Drive. It has been previously reviewed, and it is recommended that a sidewalk district be formed to fund the improvement, as the sidewalk in this area is not eligible for CDBG grant funding. The matter of the Westfall Road sidewalk gaps between Edgewood and Roosevelt Road will be moved to the September Public Works meeting. And the matters regarding turn signals and controlled turns and pedestrian signals that were reported on in the Public Safety Committee will also remain on the Public Works Committee agenda until we see some progress and get resolutions there. So thank you for taking that up in public safety this week. Last, the Public Works Committee addressed the matter of trees, and the following trees will be, the Public Works Committee is agreeable to the removal and replacement of the following trees. I will read this slowly. There are many. At 100 Holloway Road, a 40-inch silver maple. 94 Holloway Road, tree 1, a 40-inch silver maple. 94 Holloway Road, tree number 2, a 40-inch silver maple. And I should note that at Holloway Road, at 94, one of those silver maples will be removed and not replaced. The remainder of all the trees on this list will be replaced. 74 Holloway Road, a 32-inch silver maple. At 1703 Monroe Avenue, 3 trees will be removed and replaced. an 8-inch Norway maple, a 10-inch Norway maple, and a 9-inch Norway maple. At 58 Eastland Avenue, a 19-inch Norway maple, and at 170 Eastland Avenue, a 27-inch Norway maple. So the next Public Works Committee meeting is scheduled for September 6th at 9 a.m. And if members of the public have matters they'd like addressed, they can check the website for how to contact committee members, townofbrighton.org/Public Works Committee. And that is all.
Thank you, Christine. We have no old business tonight, so we'll go to new business. Jason, reading and approval of the claims, please.
Yes, Bill, earlier today, I reviewed claims totaling $458,018.14. Notable claims include to Armstrong Fabricators in the amount of $11,200, representing payment for the repair of the decorative metal scrolls and crowns for the Neighborhood Improvement District covering home acres. Also to Barton and Lojudas in the amount of $9,223.72, representing partial payment for services related to the Climate Action Plan. Also to InX Architecture in the amount of $15,210, representing partial payment for services relating to the Town Hall HVAC and renovations consulting. Also to Iroquois Rock Products / Dolomite Group in the amount of $24,657.95, representing payment for asphalt for paving Dartford Road per contract pricing. And finally, to Spring Sheet Metal and Roofing in the amount of $93,939.80, representing partial payment for work done on the library roof replacement project. The claims all appear to be in order, and I move that they be approved.
Second, Robin.
Any discussion on any of those? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DePonzio,
Aye.
Councilmember Werner,
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt,
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado,
Aye.
Supervisor Maley.
Aye. Christine, the next matter, please.
Yes, the next matter seeks to authorize the supervisor to execute a revised fee agreement with Interpretech, increasing each of the hourly rates by $2 effective August 15th, 2022 for the provision of American Sign Language interpreters for town board meetings and other events. I move that we adopt the resolution before us.
Can I have a second?
Second, Jason.
That obviously, we are using Interpretech. We're using our 2 Interpretech interpreters tonight. So this would be just a modification to the hourly rate on that existing contract. Any further discussion?
Only to note that we are one of the few communities that does provide interpreting at all of our town board meetings without residents needing to request interpreting support, because we are open and accessible to our community members. And so the hourly rate is well worth the transparency and access for the community.
Christine, are there any other towns in Monroe County with ASL interpreters at board meetings?
I believe the village of Pittsford may have followed suit. Interestingly, the town of Henrietta does not at this time, but I would hope that all communities move in that direction, given our the history and the makeup of our community countywide.
Absolutely. Thank you. We have that motion and seconded. Further discussion, if any? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DePonzio,
Aye.
Councilmember Werner,
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt,
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado,
Aye.
Supervisor Maley.
Aye. Chris, next matter.
The next item is to authorize the supervisor to execute a grant application and related documents with the New York State Office of Climate Change Charging Station Program for the maximum amount of $500,000 for 2 or more zero-emission vehicle charging stations. I move that we adopt the resolution before us.
Second. Jason.
Thank you, Jason. This is a grant program available to us, although it references 2. We certainly anticipate trying to get more than that because we know that EV usage and the need for charging stations is significant and growing in Brighton. These would be connected to one of the credit card, one of the payment systems that work with EV charging stations, and hopefully we'll be successful on the grant application. Further discussion? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DePonzio.
Aye.
Councilmember Werner.
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt.
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado.
Aye.
Supervisor Mailey.
Aye. Jason, the next one, please.
Yes, the next matter seeks to award a bid to Keeler Construction in an amount not to exceed $155,800 for the Elmwood Avenue sidewalk improvements, and authorize the supervisor to execute said agreement, and also direct the finance department to make necessary budget modifications. I move we adopt the resolution as prepared by the town attorney.
Second, Robin.
Thank you, Jason and Robin. And this is the matter that was discussed briefly during the one of the committee reports, Public Works, I believe. And the good news is that I have heard back from our state senator, Senator Jeremy Cooney, who has indicated that although the bids came in far above what we had anticipated and what was provided to us under the Community Development Block Grant, Senator Cooney will be able to provide additional state grant funding to cover most, if not all, of that shortfall. So I appreciate Senator Cooney's very swift attention to this matter. It is an indication of the challenges we face as we engage in our budget process, because this bid did come in well over 100% over what we had estimated it would be only 2 years ago. So challenging times, but thank you, Senator Cooney. And the resolution does anticipate that whatever the financial arrangements are made, the finance director is authorized to make the necessary budget modifications. So any further discussion on that? Then hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DePonzio.
Aye.
Councilmember Werner.
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt.
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado.
Aye.
Supervisor Mailey.
Aye. Robin, the next matter, please.
Certainly. The next matter seeks to authorize the supervisor to execute a contract with Ravi Engineering and Land Surveying, PC, an amount not to exceed $150,000 for engineering and related services for the French Road Bridge project, and direct the finance department to make the necessary budget modifications. I move that we adopt the resolution as prepared by the town attorney.
Second. Can I have a second, please? Second, thank you, Chris. Mike, do you want to talk about this project?
Couldn't get my cursor working. Had to find the microphone.
No cursing here.
This is it's a preventative maintenance project for the French Road Bridge. We made an application to the Bridge New York program, and they will fund this preventative maintenance project. The town's match is 5%. That's a heck of a deal to get 95% of this funded by the state and the federal government. So, you know, we had, I'm trying to think how many, we had 10 consulting firms submit their RFPs for this project. So a lot of interested folks. We reviewed them, staff reviewed them. Robbie was the most fit the bill for the project, most qualified for the project. All the firms are qualified. They come off the LSDA, LDSA list that's prepared by the New York State DOT. So they all have experience in bridge, but Robbie had experience with a lot of bridge inspection and demonstrated they're very familiar with the process for these grants. So we're recommending that we hire Robbie Engineering to do the engineering work for a fee of $150,000.
Thank you, Mike. Any further discussion? Ken, I apologize that I wasn't able to ask this question earlier, but just as a matter of disclosure before we vote, I did provide more than 10 years ago when I was practicing law, I did provide legal services to Ravi Engineering. They do not owe me any money. There are no, obviously I'm not practicing law at all at this point. Is there any reason I cannot vote on this matter?
I would not recommend that you recuse yourself or have a need to recuse yourself in this matter unless you personally feel that you are not being objective.
Thank you. I do feel objective, and so I will vote. Thank you very much. And with that, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DePonzio.
Aye.
Councilmember Werner.
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt.
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado.
Aye.
Supervisor Maley.
Aye. Next matter, Chris.
There. The next item is to approve an adjustment in the highway foreman annual salary from the current annual rate of $100,398.48 to $105,418.40, effective with the pay date of August 26, 2022. This change will affect two positions in the highway department, and I move that we adopt the resolution before us.
Second.
I have a second.
Jason.
Thank you, Jason. Any discussion on this matter? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DePonzio.
Aye.
Councilmember Werner.
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt.
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado.
Aye.
Supervisor Maley.
Aye. Jason.
Yes, the next matter seeks to approve the appointment of Jaslyn Gamble to the position, of Office Clerk 3, part-time, at an hourly rate of $17.86, as per the part-time and seasonal employee wage schedule, Group 5, Step 1, with an effective date on or about August 15, 2022. I move we adopt the resolution as prepared by the town attorney.
Second, Robin.
And this is for the town clerk's office. Dan, anything you want to say about this before I ask you to call the roll, or for any other discussion?
Yeah, I just want to say how we had an opening, interviewed a number of candidates, and Jaslyn blew us away. She was excellent. Brighton resident, which is also an added bonus. And I think she's going to be a great addition to the team.
Terrific. Thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DePonzio.
Aye.
Councilmember Werner.
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt.
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado.
Aye.
Supervisor Maley.
Aye. Okay. Last item, Robin.
Certainly. The last matter seeks the approval of a joint resolution for the commencement of proceedings pursuant to New York General Municipal Law, Article 17A, for the consolidation of 65 refuse districts into one consolidated district pursuant to a proposed joint consolidation agreement, which includes the alteration of 4 existing refuse districts from ad valorem to benefit-based, and setting a public hearing for September 14th, 2022 at 7 p.m. at Town Hall in the auditorium to consider adoption of said proposed joint consolidation agreement. I move that we adopt the resolution as prepared by the town attorney.
Second.
Second.
I think I heard Christine there. We did talk about this earlier at some length. This will, if the joint consolidation agreement is approved, it will not only make the change of the 4 districts from ad valorem to benefit derived, but will also dramatically ease some administrative and paperwork burdens on the finance department at some savings to the town and to the residents of those districts, and also actually for the county of Monroe as well. So this will only set the public hearing for September 14th in the matter. Ken or Mike or Paula, anything that any of you want to say on this before we put it to vote?
Just a couple of points of perhaps detail, not clarification. So the resolution you have before you does a number of different things. It initiates this consolidation process or proceeding. You are voting today as the governing body of each of the 65 existing entities. The town board serves as the governing body for each of the 65 existing refuse districts. The 65 existing refuse districts includes the 5 refuse districts that were formed earlier this evening. And the resolution not only sets a public hearing for September 14th, but also directs the publication of a summary which will be published starting this Friday for 4 consecutive Fridays in the Daily Record, and also directs that notice of a public hearing be published. That notice of public hearing will be incorporated into the summary that is being published in the Daily Record. And then ultimately there will be a public hearing, as you mentioned, Supervisor, on September 14th. At this point in time, and I would say this about all of our future meetings, we do not know whether that public hearing will be in person or over the video conference, but the resolution provides for either, depending upon what is available to the town pursuant to the governor's then existing executive orders. That's just a few points of detail I wanted to share.
Terrific, very helpful, thanks. Anything further? Hearing none, then Dan, please call the roll on the motion.
Councilmember DePonzio.
Aye.
Councilmember Werner.
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt.
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado.
Aye.
Supervisor Maley.
Aye. Matters of the supervisor, I do have a couple of things I want to discuss this evening. First, I am very pleased to announce, we referenced it at our last meeting, but the town has closed on the purchase of approximately 44 acres of open space, green space, at near the corner of Winton and Westfall Roads. It's the parcel of land that wraps around the Brighton Volunteer Ambulance Facility right there on the corner. We purchased that land from Faith Church, and I want to specifically particularly thank Town Attorney Ken Gordon for a lot of work in making that whole closing happen, addressing the kind of issues that sometimes do happen in real estate closings right down to the very wire. So thank you for that, Ken. And as I did previously, thanking Pastor Steve Edlin at Faith Church for his support and cooperation in working with the town to make that sale happen. It is very exciting in that it expands our open space in the central part of town. For now, there are no plans to do anything other than to maintain the grass trails that already exist on that land and which connect to the other existing trail system that the town has on Buckland Park. And for those of us that have been around here long enough to remember cows grazing on that land, it is a wonderful day to be able to finally complete the acquisition of all of that land for the people of Brighton. Next, I want to update the community on a couple of RG&E matters. First, after many discussions with RG&E about how RG&E can improve their customer service interactions with Brighton residents, particularly about billing issues, but also about other issues that are recurring, our RG&E has agreed to begin 2 new initiatives for Brighton residents that have billing issues or other issues with RG&E. The first is that they have established a new hotline for Brighton residents with billing or related issues with their RG&E account. And again, this is for Brighton residents. That hotline phone number is 844-452-8885. Again, the hotline phone number for billing issues with RG&E is 844-452-8885. Now, when you call that number, you'll get a voicemail that will ask you to leave a message with your phone number, and an RG&E customer service representative who has been given training specific to Brighton billing and related issues will call you back to address your specific concern. So that's the first new initiative. And again, both of these initiatives arise out of meetings that I had and others here on staff have had with RG&E. The second new program, which will start tomorrow, RG&E will be holding customer service office hours in Brighton Town Hall in the auditorium starting tomorrow, continuing on Friday, August 12th, Thursday, August 18th, and Friday, August 19th from 1 till 5 on each of those days. I'm hoping this program will be extended, but for now, it will start tomorrow, Thursday, August 11th, continue Friday, August 12th, Thursday, August 18th, Friday, August 19th from 1 to 5 on each of those days. Now, they ask that you sign up for an up to a 30-minute appointment. They recognize that it may take some time to resolve these issues by sending an email to Brighton Billing Appointments. In each case, the word Brighton Billing and Appointments, the letter B, B, and A are capitalized. Brighton Billing Appointments at rge.com. And they ask that you provide the following information: your name, your RG&E account number, your phone number, an email address, 3 half-hour time slots that you would be available during those 4 days that are currently scheduled, and a short description of your billing question. Now, again, this is a follow-up. Both of these programs are follow-up to a meeting that I recently had with RG&E's Vice President of Customer Service, and other members of RG&E's government relations team, in which I emphasized that Brighton residents have not only experienced an inordinate number of billing issues, but their experience with customers, RG&E's own customer service, their normal phone line, in many cases has been poor at best. We're hoping that this first, the dedicated Brighton hotline, and second, in-person customer service representatives in Brighton Town Hall will be helpful at addressing those issues. I've also made folks aware of that on various social media outlets that relate to a number of neighborhoods in Brighton, as well as the main Brighton neighborhood Facebook groups and on Twitter. If there are those of you that are members of other neighborhood association Facebook groups that I'm not a member of and want to share them onto yours, by all means, please do so. I'll also mention that tomorrow morning, first thing tomorrow morning, a team from RG&E will be meeting with myself, with Councilmember Christine Corrado, and neighborhood presidents from the Willow Bend Neighborhood Association and the Evans Farm Neighborhood Association to discuss the all too frequent power outages along the Edgewood Avenue corridor that RG&E has indicated have been caused either by animal activity or vegetation. We've heard about this for many years, but honestly, the problems really seem unique to that corridor in terms of animals and vegetation causing these outages. They've been repeated. It's really been problematic this past year. Before this meeting, we've asked RG&E to come up with a plan to rectify these issues. And frankly, I look forward to hearing tomorrow what they propose to do so that those two neighborhoods in particular, but these outages have sometimes extended farther down Edgewood. I'm really looking forward to hearing how they plan to correct these recurring problems going forward. I do appreciate that RG&E has made these special arrangements, all of these special arrangements, the meeting tomorrow, the hotline, the in-person customer service calls. I appreciate it's taken a lot of pushing and prodding and real strong insistence that there are problems here that need special attention. But I appreciate that they're taking these steps to begin to address some of those issues. But we know we're going to have to continue monitoring RG&E's performance in these areas, in the billing areas and the outage areas, and in street light maintenance and street light outages, among other areas. And again, I would remind residents, if you have a street light in your neighborhood that's out, the town webpage has a link to report that outage to RG&E. And I encourage you to do that. They will send their crews out to repair the street light. We still have issues with the so-called red tagged lights, with a number of lights in town that have been out in some cases for several years that are marked with red tags. We want to know exactly what their plan is for fixing those lights, and also working on negotiating financial arrangements to make sure that our residents aren't paying for those lights that they're not getting service from. So as you've heard me talk about at meetings, we've got a lot of ongoing issues with RG&E. These initiatives are a start, but I know that we're going to continue working with them. They have some long-term plans for upgrading the infrastructure in a number of the street lighting districts in town to provide for LED lights, better reliability less expense for ongoing electricity costs. That's another project that we're going to be following and working with RG&E on. So we're going to continue spending an awful lot of time making sure that they are providing the kind of service to the residents of Brighton that their tariff says they are required to do. Finally, I want to thank everybody that either attended our open house a couple of weeks ago, where the town's consultants for the proposed community center project, SWBR and Ballard and King, made their presentations on 3 conceptual options that are being considered for a community center here in Brighton, or who actually watched the presentation that our consultants made online following the meeting. And in either case, whether they attended or whether they actually watched the video after the fact, who then provided comments on those proposals. Those comments, as well as the results of an earlier survey that almost 1,000 Brighton residents responded to, are being compiled by the consultants. They will be providing a report to the town board in the next few months with recommendations for next steps as we look at a possible community center facility for the town of Brighton. And just to clarify what those conceptual options are, they included the purchase and renovation of the Family Jubilee Church on South Clinton Avenue near the Tops Plaza. That's one proposal. Second was a proposed collaboration with the JCC, under which the town would lease space at the existing JCC on Edgewood Avenue and move certain recreation and other community activities there. And the third proposal, the construction of a new community center and recreation facility on Westfall Road in Buckland Park. So all of those 3 items were addressed in the open house, in the meeting that our consultants held, and we'll be going forward getting their report in the not too distant future. That's what I have as matters of the supervisor. Ken, matters of the town attorney.
No, I have nothing this evening. Thank you, Supervisor.
Thank you. Dan, matters of the town clerk.
Nothing this evening.
Matters of the town board. Then in that case, can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DePonzio,
Aye.
Councilmember Werner,
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt,
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado,
Aye.
Supervisor Maley.
Aye. Thank you for everybody that participated tonight. Thank you again, and big thanks to our ASL interpreters, Allie and Jesse. Our next town board meeting, and again, as Ken alluded, at this point, could be remote, depending on whether the governor continues the order, would be on Wednesday, August 24th at 7 p.m. And finally, I want to thank Jason Aremza, who is not someone you normally see on these meetings, but he has been coordinating the Zoom for us tonight. So thank you very much for that, Jason. Have a great evening, everybody. We'll see you, if not sooner, on August 24th. Have a great evening. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.